It can work. I know it can. I'm living proof. But let's be honest, we've all seen couples stay together for years and still look miserable, like roommates stuck on a long lease. And that's exactly where this story takes a sharp turn, because she didn't just spill tea, she flipped the entire table. This wasn't petty shade or a cute rumor. This was the kind of truth that scorches careers, shatters reputations, and sends the internet into a full-blown meltdown. Tonight, Dr. Heavenly didn't go live to chat. She went live to detonate. The second her face appeared on screen, calm and unbothered, the air felt heavy. That silence you only feel right before everything explodes. And then she said it. The words that froze millions mid-scroll. Let's talk about who Kandi Burruss really is and why her marriage was doomed from day one. Chat went wild. Hearts skipped beats. People leaned into their screens like the truth was pulling them in. Because what Heavenly revealed next wasn't messy. It was catastrophic. According to her, allegedly, Kandi never loved Todd. Not for a moment. Not for a second. She married a man she could control. A man financially beneath her. A man she could shape, command, and place perfectly into her picture-perfect family illusion. And that was only the first bomb. Heavenly painted Kandi as colder, darker, and far more ruthless than fans ever imagined. A woman obsessed with power. A woman who needed control like oxygen. A woman who allegedly played with people's hearts, lives, and careers just to stand alone at the top. As she kept talking, it stopped feeling like a live stream and started feeling like a public execution. This wasn't tea. This was tragedy, betrayal, and the slow death of a legacy. Dr. Heavenly didn't whisper or hint. She ripped the illusion apart and laid every shattered truth on the table. Calm, calculated, like someone who'd been holding secrets for years and finally let the light burn everything clean. No intro, no smile, just a look that said, "This is going to hurt." She leaned in and said it flat out. Kandi didn't marry for love. She married for control. That sentence alone split the internet in half. Because for years, fans believed in the unstoppable image. Unstoppable success. Unstoppable confidence. Unstoppable marriage. But Heavenly said it was all a glossy filter hiding something dark. Todd wasn't a partner. He was a chess piece. Someone who wouldn't challenge her throne. Someone chosen because he was pliable. That marriage, she claimed, was a business deal wrapped in wedding bells. No pauses, no stumbles, just a cold breakdown of a relationship people thought was real. Heavenly described Kandi as driven by strategy, not affection. Emotional closeness wasn't love to her. It was a liability. Power mattered more than partnership. Behind the smiles and cameras, there was a truth people felt, but never said out loud. Kandi allegedly loved the idea of marriage, not the man inside it. Everything had to orbit around her. And when someone threatened that orbit, they were pushed out without hesitation. And then came the detail that sent the comments into chaos. Kandi admitted she enjoyed threesomes, but Heavenly said it wasn't about pleasure. It was about control. Emotional distance through chaos. Blurred boundaries. Dangerous lines crossed. Even Portia Williams was mentioned, recalling an offer that left her stunned. Suddenly, what fans once called messy storylines felt like warning signs. This wasn't reality TV drama. This was unraveling. Then Heavenly turned to the family. Mama Joyce, toxic from the start. Never respected Todd. Never trusted him. The prenup wasn't protection. It was humiliation dressed as responsibility. Todd allegedly signed under pressure, not love. Proof, Heavenly said, that he had no choice. She described Mama Joyce as a shadow over the marriage, feeding doubt, resentment, and narratives that poisoned the household. Riley allegedly grew up seeing Todd as temporary, inferior, an outsider. And the tension between Riley and Kayla wasn't teenage drama. It was emotional inheritance. By now, viewers were exhausted, hearts racing, but Heavenly wasn't finished. She leaned forward and lowered her voice. There's something else. Something people have whispered for years, but never said out loud. Claims that Don Juan wasn't just a manager. Whispers that one child people believe is Todd's might not be. The chat exploded. Disbelief, outrage, chaos, and Heavenly didn't blink. She closed this part with one final, devastating line. Nothing about that marriage was ever real. Not the love. Not the loyalty, not the so-called family unity. According to Heavenly, it was all built on control, power, and survival, never genuine connection. At that point, the live stopped feeling like entertainment. It felt like a legacy collapsing in real time. Once those words landed, the entire atmosphere shifted. This wasn't gossip anymore. It was a public unraveling. Viewers weren't watching. They were witnessing the slow demolition of an image they'd believed in for years. The chat flooded with disbelief, but Heavenly only grew calmer, steadier, like someone finally setting down a burden she'd carried far too long. She continued without blinking. There was a part of this story, she said quietly, that no one wanted to say out loud because it exposed just how broken everything behind those doors really was. Her tone pulled thousands closer to their screens. She explained the chaos didn't start with fame or marriage. It started with resentment buried under success, tension hidden beneath glamour. A house full of silent rooms, constant battles, emotional distance so wide nothing could cross it. It didn't sound like a marriage. It sounded like an institution rotting from the inside. Then she went darker. Todd, she claimed, didn't pull away out of anger, but exhaustion. Surrounded by people who never wanted him there. Trying to belong, trying to matter. Every effort met with judgment or cold dismissal. He didn't just lose confidence, he lost himself. Before viewers could breathe, Heavenly leaned in. While the public blamed Todd, no one paid attention to what he was surviving. Decisions made without him. Connections blocked before they reached him. Boundaries destroyed on contact. This wasn't a marriage. It was endurance. Then came the reveal that shifted everything. Heavenly said Todd allegedly found emotional comfort outside the home. Not romantic at first, just someone who listened. Someone who didn't treat him like a prop. And that person, she claimed, was Portia Williams. The screen erupted, but Heavenly stayed calm, precise, almost clinical. It started with conversations. Two people under pressure. Two people feeling invisible. Then she dropped the line that froze the room. Emotional comfort becomes attachment. Attachment becomes something else. People don't fall for someone new, she said. They fall out of what they're trapped in. Then she delivered the allegation that detonated the live. Todd didn't just confide in Portia. He allegedly cared for her, and she cared back. The chat exploded. Heavenly pressed on. Those connections, she said, grew away from cameras, away from castmates, in the quiet spaces where broken people drift together. And then came the whisper that made hearts stop. Something may have happened during that time. Something with consequences. She paused. There might be a child involved. Chaos. Total meltdown. Heavenly clarified she wasn't naming names, only repeating what insiders had whispered for years. Todd's life outside the marriage, she said, wasn't as clean as portrayed. When someone challenges a prenup, they're not fighting for love, they're fighting for freedom. That line cut straight through the marriage narrative. She explained how the prenup battle allegedly exposed the truth, not devotion, protection, because the emotional foundation was already gone. The household, she said, turned poisonous. Kandi Burris tightened control. Todd pulled away. Mama Joyce attacked. Riley chose sides. Kayla withdrew. Don Juan hovered like a quiet storm, all while the public praised a picture-perfect image online, unaware of the emotional war behind closed doors. Late-night arguments, silent dinners, smiles stretched to breaking. Love never grew there, only tension. According to Heavenly, they weren't living together. They were living beside each other, strangers sharing space, not a life. Her voice softened briefly. Pretending is hard, she said. Harder when one person never wanted the marriage and the other was never accepted in it. The distance became a wall. Thick, cold, unbreakable. Then everything finally exploded. Arguments turned into accusations. Accusations into threats. Threats into decisions that couldn't be undone. The divorce wasn't a shock inside that house. They'd been emotionally divorced for years. The final days were dark. Separate rooms, late nights, a home that no longer felt like one. Heavenly ended with a verdict that hit like a gavel. This wasn't a breakup. It was a collapse. Everything people thought they knew shattered. And when the truth finally surfaced, it didn't whisper. It screamed. Every attempt at emotional connection was shut down with cold strategy or quiet dismissal. He didn't just lose love. He lost himself. Then Heavenly dropped the alleged emotional betrayal that made viewers gasp. While the world was distracted by perfection, she said Todd was quietly searching for understanding, empathy, someone who saw him without judgment. That someone, she claimed, was Portia Williams. And this wasn't casual conversation. It was a lifeline. The screen detonated. Comments flew. Shock echoed through silent rooms. Heavenly didn't flinch. Comfort, she said slowly, turns into attachment. Attachment leads to consequences, and in this case, those consequences may have been a child. Whispers exist. Claims circulate. People know, but fear keeps them quiet. The chat lost control. The internet felt like it cracked open in real time. Then she shifted to the family. Mama Joyce, Heavenly said, wasn't innocent. She allegedly fueled distrust, guided Riley against Todd, planted resentment so deep reconciliation never stood a chance. Her influence was strategic, toxic, and constant. Riley wasn't just watching. She absorbed it, reinforcing the divide, seeing Todd as an outsider. Viewers sat frozen. This wasn't gossip anymore. It was the unmasking of a family allegedly built on manipulation. Then came the shocker. Don Juan, Heavenly claimed, wasn't just a manager. Lines were crossed. Trust was broken. There were whispers that a child believed to be Todd's might not be his. The chat went viral. Disbelief, tears, realization. Heavenly kept going. Every argument, every move, she said, was about control. Kandi Burruss allegedly wanted dominance in marriage and perception. Todd's attempts to assert himself were quietly dismantled. Communication met with coldness. Protection met with resistance. Even the prenup, she said, exposed the imbalance. Love was never the foundation. Heavenly lowered her voice. What looked like smiles were storms. What looked like harmony was orchestration. Portia allegedly became Todd's emotional refuge as everything collapsed. From that bond came consequences that fractured the story people thought they knew. This wasn't just a divorce, Heavenly said. It was lives unraveling and an image disintegrating. The marriage was performance. The unity was an act. And now the truth was out. She ended with a warning. This story isn't over. What looked perfect was never real. Control replaced love. Secrecy replaced unity. The live ended in silence. Then chaos followed. Social media exploded. Every photo, every memory, every smile was questioned. One truth hung in the air. Nothing about this marriage was what it seemed. The illusion shattered. What remained was raw, devastating, and viral. And if you think this is the end, you're wrong. Subscribe, stay locked in, and watch closely, because the next chapter is coming, and it's going to hit harder.